Hey there peeps, it's me. So, you just pulled a new character and you wanna know how to build them, or you're coming back to the game after a lot of time away, or you're a new player that wants to know how to build their characters. You come to the right place. How do you build characters? What even is building characters? In Genshin Impact, you gotta build characters, you gotta level them up, you gotta give them gear. It's an RPG game to make your character stronger. But building isn't as simple as just building, right? But we're gonna make it simple. Guide makers are always telling you to optimize stuff, right? And go for these particular sets, go for these substats, use this weapon, use that, use crit rate, crit damage, and all those things, but no one actually tells you how to get there in the first place. So recently they introduced two new features. One of them is this fast equip, and it'll just give you the artifacts based on its recommendation, and it'll give you what it thinks are the best artifacts. You can use this. As you can see, it's giving my Xiao 93 crit rate, and I'm losing all of this crit damage for absolutely nothing, right? So it doesn't always give you the best artifact recommendations. For my Jean, it's making me lose crit rate and giving me crit damage even though she's built as a healer, and they're taking away my ER. You can't always trust that. And there's also another new feature where you can just click on the training guide and you can see how strong your characters are. They basically tell you to give your characters 5-star weapons. This is basically what they do. So relying on all of these things can be easy, but it can also be complicated since you will always have to rely on these people telling you what to do. So this is basically like giving a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. So these features are them giving you fish and you're eating for a day. You're building one character and then another character comes out and you'll have to beg them for fishes again. But the real joy is in catching the fish yourself. It is a part of the game that I enjoy and I think others should be able to enjoy too. So I'm gonna teach you to catch the fish yourself. Building your characters. First of all, what you need to do is level them up. You gotta get all of these stars. Like when you get a character, they start at level 1, right? You gotta level them up and you gotta get them to level 40. You gotta farm their ascension material. You gotta ascend them. So the most basic thing you can do for a character is ascend them, level them up until they're at least 70 out of 80. Now why 70 out of 80? It's because at 70 out of 80 you unlock this passive talent, the second passive talent for every character. Now if they're not 70 out of 80, if they're lower than that, you will not unlock this talent. And for most characters, this talent is a important part of their kit, so you have to unlock your character first before you can build them, right? So at least get them to 70 out of 80 so you can get their talent to level 8. And if you want to be done with the character, then you can level them up to 80 out of 90. Most characters don't actually need to go to 90 except for the character that scale heavily, ones that need HP or EM. So usually leveling characters up to 90 isn't the highest priority, so just get them to 80 out of 90. If you get them to 80 out of 90, you'll be able to level their talent up to the max. It is a very common thing to fall in the trap of farming artifacts, like oh no, you see people farming artifacts, you see people posting about them online. Oh no, I have this high CV piece, I have this whatever piece, and you want this piece, but for these artifacts aren't guaranteed increases. You need to go for guaranteed increases. So what are guaranteed increases? They are increases that are permanent and they guarantee that your damage will go up. Now what are those guaranteed increases? They are leveling up your character. So this is a guaranteed increase. This is not RNG. This isn't random. Now granted, 80 to 90 isn't that much of an increase, but getting from 20 to 80 is a really huge increase. The second guaranteed damage is talents. Most people I've seen online, they post about artifacts, they post about sets, but their talent levels are always so low. They're like 5, 6, and they're complaining about, oh no, why am I not doing as much damage as I need to? It's because of your talents, right? You go into the attributes, these percentage increases, these are direct increases. Like talents directly increase how much damage you can do. Like if I level this from 8 to 9, this is going from 404 to 430%. So the 26% that I'm getting is a guaranteed increase. I'm going to be doing more damage no matter what. This comes before everything. No matter what other multiplier you're gonna use, this comes before everything. So prioritize getting your talents to at least 8. Not all of the talents to 888, only the ones that matter. You gotta know your character first. If not 8, you can get them to 6, which is fine which is very cheap, and from 6 you'll start to encounter these purple books which are hard to farm, but at least 6 and then 8. So first focus on talents, first focus on the character levels, and once you know that your character is fully leveled and their talents are leveled, you can then focus on artifacts. Now don't get me wrong, artifacts are important. I'm not saying artifacts aren't important. Artifacts are obviously important. These give you increases as well, but artifacts, so let's say this is the increase you get, and this is the level of investment in a character, like the more you farm your artifacts. So at the very start, with very low investment, as soon as you start leveling your characters up, as soon as you give them artifacts, when you give them artifacts, it starts going like this, right? It increases, and then at a stage of investment where you're still investing, but you're investing a lot more, but it plateaus. It just plateaus. It just starts going straight, and only minor increases, very minor increases. So you're seeing how the increase here and the increase here, which gets even steeper, and then when you're like very high investment, it doesn't even go up. It just slight bumps. So yeah, all this to say, artifacts are important, but not as important as you think. While you ascend your characters, you'll be getting 2 types of artifacts: the gladiators, and the second set will be these things, the wanderers. So both of these sets, they are good. Don't look at the set bonus. This green text here, this isn't as important as these artifacts. So what you need to do is get the main stat first. Here I have this Maiden's pieces, right? Maiden is a healing set. Now you'll say, oh no, this is a healing set, this isn't good, this is not trash. But if it has good subs, you level it up and it has it's a really good artifact. Now you don't even focus on all that. Xiao here, for example, he has just a percentage. When there is just a simple percentage in the talents, that means the character scales off attack. Xiao is an attack scaling character, so obviously you need an attack sans on him. Now you don't need this Mare Chaussee attack sans on him. You can just literally give him any kind of attack sans. You can literally give him just this Blizzard Stare attack sans and it'll be fine because it is an attack sans. Putting substats aside, don't even look at this. This is absolutely just, you're not even seeing this, right? You just sort by attack percentage. Just slap any attack percentage bad boy on him and he'll do his job. So the main stat important. So what is a main stat? So let's look at artifacts. There are 5 types of artifacts. There's the flower, there's the feather, there's the sands, there's the goblet, and the circlet. There's 5 artifacts. So for the flower, the main stat is fixed. HP, flat HP. This isn't changing. No matter what artifact you look at, this is not changing. This is going to be static. You are not going to see any change in this. The same thing for the feather. You are not going to see any change. This is always gonna be attack. So generally these 2 pieces are gonna be really easy to get because this, you do not have to worry about this, so you can start worrying about this. But at the start, don't worry about that at all. So you got these 2 sorted, you got your attack and sorted, and so most characters need attack, damage, crit. ADC as we call it, attack, damage, crit. This is what most characters use as their bread and butter. Recently some characters have come out who use HP as their sans. See, this HP stands for my Farina. That is because when you go into her talents, her damage scales off max HP. Max HP. There are no simple percentages here. Like if you look at Xiao, he has just percentages, but Farina has max HP, which means she needs HP. So simply the Sans has these stats, either HP, either defense, either attack, or EM in some cases. Now when are you gonna use EM? EM is used when your character is doing a lot of reactions, such as my Al Haytham here. He is, now you go into his talents, you see he has EM scaling. and he's a Dendro character. So if someone has EM skilling, you will give them an EM sense. Just like my Nahida here, she also has EM skilling, which obviously nets her an EM sense. Now, even if the character doesn't have EM skilling, like my Tignari here, he doesn't have EM skilling, he's just doing attack damage, but he is a reaction character. He's a Dendro character, and you know that you're gonna use him to do reactions, so you're gonna use EM sands on him. You can use these on Pyro characters as well. You can use this on, like I'm using on my Gaming, and EM sense. For any character, just get the right main stat. You just get an attack sense. For attack scaling characters, HP or EM, just get it and give it to them. Don't worry about these substat at all. These are not important. Now you go on to the goblet. This is usually the hardest piece to farm because there are so many variables. Like all of these things, you can have this, you can have this, you can have this, you can have all of these damage percentage. So these really dilute the pool. So getting a damage bonus goblet, you lock that damage bonus goblet. So don't look at the stat at all. The most important thing, look at the main stat. So here's another trap. You see characters posting about high crit damage, right? You see their builds, they have really high crit damage. They have about 200, they have about lots and lots of crit damage, and the big number is nice to see because it does big numbers. Like, do not fall into the crit damage trap. For most characters, you need to have a ratio of 1 to 2. So crit rate always needs to be higher than 50%. Like you should not ideally go below that unless your set is giving you crit rate. Crit rate and crit damage should be in a 1:2 at least. So if this is 60, this should be 120. If this is 50, this should be 100. So do not prioritize crit damage, always prioritize crit rate, because you're not gonna use this damage at all if you're not critting. Like, this is the probability of you doing crits, and this is the damage when you do end up landing a crit. So if you never end up landing a crit, then what good is this damage? It's better used if your crit rate was 100% and this was dropped to 50%. Then you're probably be doing a lot more damage and not hating yourself for missing your big numbers. Always prioritize high crit rate, especially at the start. If you're just starting to farm artifacts, you just give them a crit rate circlet, and that should get them up to about 50 or 60, and no matter what the crit damage is, it can slowly start going up. Like, you might be saying that farming artifacts is ridiculously difficult, and it is ridiculously difficult. You can not get the right set you want, you cannot get the right piece you want, but you have these, you have the gladiators and you have the wanderers. So all you need to do is get the right main stat and do not worry about the substat, because getting a main stat is difficult, sure, but it is astronomically less difficult than getting a piece on the set that you want and then getting the right main stat as well, and then on top of that getting good substats as well. And when the artifacts rolls from 0 to 20, you need those rolls to also go into the good stats. So all of this is a really low probability, and it's again gonna make you hate yourself. I've heard of a lot of people who quit Genshin because of the artifact grind, because of how difficult it is. But you don't have to grind artifacts. All this optimization is just this. It's literally just this. This is what people hyper focus on. This is nothing. But what you need to be focusing on is getting to this point. So this is a very easy journey, but this is a very rocky journey. So what you need to focus on is getting to a point where you can just get a lot of return for your investment and then just stop. And you can just work for small increases if you want, but you don't need to. Now, if you build your characters actually correctly, like if you build your characters properly and not fall into any traps, it should be really easy to beat the Abyss, which is the most difficult content in the game for now. I've been 36 starting the Abyss for as long as I can remember, while not having the best builds, but if you follow my advice, you can do at least floor 11 all stars. Like, getting floor 11 all stars, that is a realistically attainable goal within like very low investment. Like, all you need to do is level up your characters, level up your talents, level up your weapon as well, because this weapon directly influences your attack. So character, your weapon, you can give them any weapon you want. basically a weapon that's good on them, but that weapon needs to be maxed. So there's a lot of people who don't level up their weapons, they leave them at 70, 80. Yeah, so leveling up your weapon, high priority, leveling up your character to at least 80, high priority, and leveling up your talents to at least an acceptable point, 6 to 8, high priority. You done these things, you almost got to half of this thing. And the other thing, you need to give them artifacts with the right main set. Do not even look at the set. Shao does anemo damage, give him an anemo damage goblet on any set. Like, it doesn't even need to be on this. You can just sort by anemo damage and whichever one you like. So even on a broken set, a character is going to do more damage than they would have done on a full 4-piece set, because 4-piece sets aren't important. 4-piece sets are only important on very rare cases, such as on Sucrose, such as Viridis and VV, right? This is really important because the 4-piece set is what's carrying the set. But Sucrose is again a support character, so you don't need damage stats on her. For most characters, sets don't matter. This is for all the teapot mains out there, all the exploration mains out there, all the busy mains out there who only log in once a month, and all the waifu/husbando mains out there who just pull a character for their looks and then they get depressed because they can't build them. Building a character doesn't have to be difficult. You don't have to fall into the trap of investing and getting nothing for your return. You can just focus on this area and you can get a lot of return for investment, and when you think the investment is getting too much and you're not getting the results you want, you can just stop. So now you've built a character, you've given them all the right set, you've given them all the main stats for now. For example, I'm gonna take the set off Diluc and I'm gonna give him a broken set. So my Diluc literally has 15% hydro damage bonus and yeah, a fully broken set. But this is still gonna be better than a bad Crimson Witch set or a bad set that you're gonna use on any character. So this is a built Diluc. You can actually use this Diluc and you can clear floor 11 and maybe even 12 with this Diluc. We have good main stats, we have everything, but we don't have the stuff that people obsess over. One of the most important things to do in Genshin is team building. So you look at your character, you pulled a recent character, like let's say you've pulled Diluc, let's say you pulled a Yelan or whatever. So it depends on the type of the character and the team that you want to play in. So Genshin has elemental reactions. So for pyro characters, you have access to vaporize or melt. So for Diluc, you want to use him based on a reaction. So if it's a pyro character, you want to put him with either hydro characters or you want to put him with cryo characters like Ganyu or Kaya here, because they will make him do more damage. So team building is building a team, as the name says, like you've pulled a character and you want to build a team around that character doing damage. So there are roles a character plays, like Diluc here, he is my damage character. I want my Diluc to do damage, I want him to stay on field. So I'm going to choose the characters that are good at doing damage off field, such as my Yelan. So I'm going to choose characters which are good at doing off field damage, such as Yelan, Xingqiu, Kaya, Ganyu. They can just cast their skills and they can swap out, so my Diluc can keep doing his damage. Now with Diluc, I'm not going to use characters which want to stay on field, such as Raiden. I'm not going to use her. I'm not going to use Child because he also wants to stay on field. So you want to keep in mind the roles that the character is going to play. So you build a character, you build all the characters that are going to be supporting him, you build a team around that character and a specific reaction, such as this team that I'm in right now. This is focused on Vaporize because Pyro Hydro, that's some good damage. So that's the little thing that I want to tell you guys, that I haven't heard anyone speak of before. They just go straight to advanced character buildings, which I don't think is that palatable for new players. Like when I was a new player, I didn't get it at all, but then I kind of figured it out myself. This video was kind of all over the place, but any ideas or comments or any suggestions for what you want to see in the future will be appreciated. And yeah, do like, comment, subscribe, all those nice things. And if this video helped you build your character, then tell me in the comments and I'm gonna put a nice little heart on it. That does it for this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.